Welcome back to the channel. This is the next in the series of the classic kits I've been picking up from the local hobby store in 1/72nd scale, slightly smaller scale, but it means I have room to display them. This is going to be another one I'm probably going to do in a what if, probably a Canadian scheme. This, of course, is the YF23 Black Widow. This was a Northrop prototype that competed against the YF22, and the YF22 was successful in the competition to replace the F-15 as the U.S. air superiority fighter for the next couple of decades. This was a 1991 release with a rebox in 1994 by Italeri. As you can see, pretty nice box art. It is a side opening box, which I've always found a bit of a pain. Here is the paint scheme. Pretty straightforward. There's only one scheme that comes with it. This is the first prototype that flew in 1990. So let's get on with the sprues and the instructions. So the instructions pretty straightforward. This is a used kit, so there is some notations in here by the previous owner of the kit. Some actually rather detailed notes, but fairly straightforward to put together. Top, bottom, not a lot of high part count as for the era, and then you've got a couple of schemes here, including the first and second prototypes. Pretty well, not a lot of difference probably other than the serial number and a paint scheme. I'm not even sure. I may use this sort of paint scheme for it in Canadian service, but we'll see. That's the instructions. Now onto the sprues. As I said, a very low part count. This is the first sprue. The thing that strikes me most is how large this aircraft is. You don't realize how large this is until you see it here. It was definitely a little bit larger than the YF-22. So this is the underside with the weapons bay door, the tail fins, engines, the engine inlets or exhausts, so you can see that. Some of the landing gear doors. Pretty straightforward, pretty timely molding for the time, so no real surprises there. Then we have the upper area. This is the upper part of the cockpit, including the rather minimal cockpit detail assembly and the upper side. Again, hard to believe how large this aircraft was with its wing, but it'll be interesting to make up. And then we have the decals and the canopy, and looks like one ARAM missile that came off. They've thoughtfully put in the bag. There is the canopy section, two-piece. Nothing really surprising there. Looks in very good shape for its age. And then the decal set, again, for the two prototypes that were made for Air Force testing. Pretty straightforward, no yellowing. As I said, we'll see what we use on here. I may use the air refueling decal. But again, my plan is I want to do a Canadian what if. So anyway, that is the YF23 from Italeri. That's going to be one of the ones in the queue for the build, and we'll go from there. So as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and you can also check out the podcast I do on the Scale Model Podcast. That's it for now. Thank you, and be well.